Jonathan Ellis, who is the founder of DataStax, acquired by IBM this year. And Jonathan is going to share with us Brokk, which is a new AI coding agent capable of handling million-line code bases. Jonathan, say hello to everyone.
Hey, everyone. Delighted to be here.
Yeah. Jonathan, we'll collect. So I've got some questions for you, but also, so we got some comments saying, "Hi, Jonathan. How's it going?" And great AI, excellent. So I'll try to keep eye on the comments here and pull in any questions. So if you guys have any questions, just Jonathan. He's here. He's ready for your questions. But meanwhile, I've got some questions for you, Jonathan. But also, before we do that, what things should we be aware of with Brokk AI?
Really, the idea with Brokk is it's twofold. First of all, I got frustrated using other AI tools that treat the context as a black box, meaning that, if I push the button and it gives me a good answer, then great. But if I push the button and it gives me back a terrible answer, then I know that it's missing some context, but I don't know what, and I don't know how to fix it. So I wanted to make Brokk a visible, explicit, and controllable AI assistant where you're never feeling like, well, crap, something went wrong and I have no idea and no recourse and no levers with which to fix it. And then going along with that, I wanted to give Brokk higher level tools than anyone else is giving them. Effectively, everyone is treating the AI as something that consumes a bag of text and gives you back another bag of text. And that works, obviously. AIs are good at treating code like a bag of text, but what if we could give them a semantic understanding of the code base rather than just characters and lines? And so Brokk gives the AI tools like symbol search rather than string search, and symbol-based editing. So instead of a sed command where you give it, here's the text I want to replace, and here's what I want to replace it with, all you have to do is say, replace method context manager.get project, and then I've saved half of your tokens. So that's Brokk in a nutshell.
Nice. That's great to hear. We've got some reactions, folks, some heart emojis showing up, and then sounds really useful. Going to use it as soon as I can. Excellent. That's great to hear. Oh, someone's asking monthly price, and is it better than Claude's limits?
So the thing with Brokk is that we are basically passing the vendor API charges onto you. We're not taking anything off the top. Brokk is in beta, and as kind of a recognition that rough things happen in beta sometimes. We're not charging anything on top of that. So what Brokk charges you, we're paying that out to the to Anthropic, to Google, and so forth. And so you get the choice with Brokk whether you want it to be an expensive model, like Sonnet is relatively expensive, or a cheap model like GPT-5 Mini. Actually, GPT-5 Mini we're offering completely free right now. And so the trade-off is, there's the intelligence trade-off, but there's also the time trade-off, right? So GPT-5 Mini is slower than Sonnet and slower than Haiku. So that's what you're getting when you're paying for those premium models. And then to unlock those paid models, it is a $20 a month fee, but there's no quota associated with that. We're just going to draw off of that as you make requests and charge you what that cost us. So the other thing we're not doing is, I don't believe in inventing some kind of magic thing like Brokk points, where your dollars turn into points and then your points turn into calls. We're just charging you the dollars and cents. So it's possible that the marketing guys make me change that at some point, but that's what we're doing right now.
Nice. That's really exciting. I like that approach. That's because you look at all these other businesses out there, and they want to sort of front end all of that, and it feels like they're taking away control, like your ability to pick your models. But I'm actually kind of curious. Do you also support on-device models?
Yes. So let me add to my previous answer, but the short answer is yes.
Nice.
And one of the reasons that we're doing this pricing model is that I want my interests to be aligned with yours as users of Brokk. And I've seen in other in discussions of other tools, like, hey, here's how I was able to cram 10 requests into a single call, and because that way it uses up less of my quota. But one of the things we found studying model performance is the longer your context gets, the more you stuff into that context, literally they get dumber. And so we want to align the best way of using the models with the pricing, and the best way we found to do that is to just charge what the API costs. And then to answer the question about local models more fully, so the bad news is there is no such thing as a local model that's going to give you cutting edge coding performance. If you click on our website through to the Brokk power ranking, we went into fairly exhaustive detail there. We've tested every model that anyone said was good at coding at some point. We've tested all of them. And the best you can do locally, depending on how much VRAM you have, GPT-20 is good. GPT-120 is even better, but that's not many people have enough RAM for that. Or the other one is Qwen3 Code, the smaller one. I think it's a 30 billion model, is also reasonable. And that's going to be better if you have, I think, a Mac, because it's a sparser model than GPT-20 is. Those would be my top three. But if you look at the results, if you click into the open round and look at the results, they're just not very strong compared with a Haiku or a GPT-5 Mini, let alone the big brothers of those models.
That makes a lot of sense because these other models that are kind of the closed source models, they're investing a lot in updating the weights for very specific tasks that they're finding that are common from a coding agent perspective, and a lot of people are taking advantage of that, and that's but at least meanwhile, was there Minimax? Was that something new that just came out? It just came out recently, right? Minimax, and has really good. Have you heard about this one?
I'll put that on the list to test. I wasn't aware that there was a new wizard model out. Their last generation from, I want to say 18 months ago, there was some drama there where I think they got acquired by Microsoft, and then they said, "Hey, peace out. We're not digging it here." I could be wrong. I could be misremembering, but I think there was something going on like that. So that's why they didn't have a new wizard model for the longest time. But they were really good at the time. So I'm really excited to hear that there's a new one, and I'll put it through its paces and see what we get.
Nice, excellent. All right, we got some more questions. Are you ready? Some more questions.
Totally.
All right, we've got here. This one's kind of interesting. I'll jump in there. This one I wasn't expecting this question, but can you use this for marketing and creative writing, or is it completely off to a different use case?
I mean, when you open up Brokk, it's going to open up it's going to ask you, give me a project full of code, and then I'm going to start parsing that and analyzing your dependencies and so forth. So really not intended for that. You should probably stick with ChatGPT or the Claude web app. We're really focused on code.
Nice. All right, we've got makes sense. Good. It's intended for software engineering purposes.
That's right.
Nice. All right, we've got a question about how you built this and how you decided, to make this decision to build this, and how long did it take?
How long did it take to build it, or how long did it take the decision? While you're answering that, basically, I was working on a project called JVector at DataStax. So it's a vector search library that we were using in Cassandra and in our cloud database that's based on Cassandra. And so I used GPT to help me build JVector, and it was really great at working on that because this was a greenfield project, relatively small lines of code. And then when I had to integrate that into Cassandra, then AI was just completely unable to help me. And because Cassandra is a tightly coupled code base. And so, our tagline is, Brokk is the AI assistant for large code bases. But if I'm going to be a little more accurate and a little more pedantic, it's the AI assistant for highly coupled code bases. Because actually, pick a tool is going to be good at writing a React web app, even if that's a very large React web app, basically because the frontier models have memorized React. And the web app itself is not very tightly coupled code. If you're working on one area of the code, it has very low dependencies on other areas. And so the model, even if it's fairly blind as to what's going on in the rest of the app, it doesn't matter. But in something like Cassandra, or in any client server application, or in a C++ project like Blender, like all of those are things that it makes a very big difference if I understand what's going on in the rest of the code base or not. And that's what Brokk unlocks, is that I wanted to solve the problem of understanding the big picture, or being able to pull in parts of the big picture so that the model can solve my problems effectively.
Nice. Yeah, I was looking through the different tools and that you've built into the workspace, and the different approaches, and with the ability to do a call graph and other things like this, I think go beyond what the current coding agents that we see in the market, that compared to, like, Claude or Codex, they don't go to this level of detail because they're focused. I think they're focusing on different things, right? They're focusing on probably just from writing a brand new project from zero to forward. And where Brokk is different is where, hey, you know what? In the world today, the whole world is depending on this enterprise software that's driving the whole world right now, this very second. It exists right now, and we need to maintain this. And the existing AI coding agents, they aren't necessarily built to handle those use cases specifically. And what you've built Brokk for is those exact use cases for the enterprise existing code bases that run the world today.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. And you know what? I mean, even me at PubNub, we've got a ton of code. A lot of it, there's some JVM in there. We've got Rust, we've got Golang, we've got Python, and just a lot of code. Actually, that was one of my questions. So we do have a lot of chat questions. I'm having a hard time keeping up, but I have one. I've got you on here, and I want to ask. From my perspective, we have a lot of code bases. Over, what is it? 1,200 GitHub repositories that are running in our infrastructure today.
That's a lot of repos.
That's a lot of repos. Is it possible to leverage Brokk across repo, or is it best to focus it on one at a time?
So this is something that we need a better solution for, because the answer is kind of. And what I mean by that is, if you go to the dependencies in Brokk and you say, I want to import a dependency, then depending on your language, if it's Python, it will check your TOML file. If it's Rust, it will check your cargo file. If it's Java, it checks Maven and Gradle and so forth. So we can pull in dependencies from those kind of global repositories. But then the other option it says is import a dependency from Git, or import a dependency from a local directory. And what you get with that is you get a one-time import. So if that dependency is being actively developed, then it's going to drift, it's going to diverge, and at some point you're going to want to throw it away and re-import it. So that's why I say that we put a bunch of effort into recognizing that there's these dependencies that are relevant to your code that don't exist in your single project repo. But in that specific instance, there is some clunkiness still where if the dependency is continuing to evolve, then it does get stale in Brokk right now.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I was looking through how it was parsing and running through all my files when I was. Oh, we were also asked on here. They want a live demo. They want to see a live demo. Do we have? I have it up and running. Let's see here.
All right. So this is the part where I didn't do my homework sufficiently. Where do I go to actually see what you're seeing?
Oh, let's do it. All right, here. I'll post. We're on Zoom. We're on Zoom. Wait, can I? Wait. If I move Zoom, it'll be a problem. How do I? If you go to, maybe YouTube Stephen Blum. Here. Also, while you're trying to do that, I'll see if I can get you the link here in a clever way. Let's see, how do we do that?
Oh, I found it. I see us live.
Hey, there we are. All right.
Just need to
Excellent.
mute that so it's not going to cause problems. But yeah, I think
Nice.
I'm.
All right. So I don't know if you've seen any of the chat messages, but we got a lot. We got quite a
Yeah,
few.
I'll let you keep track of the chat messages, but I'll have this window open so I can see what we're doing in our live demo.
Nice. All right. So let's see here. Let me see if I got is did I pull it up on? Oh, sweet. I have it here. All right. So you can see this is it's going to be kind of hard to see on this if your screen like there's a lot of small text. There's a lot of small text, but we're going to go to the live demo here for a second. There's some other questions. We'll try to get to those here in a bit. But
Yeah,
I think
Brokk is not optimized for mobile, I'm afraid.
yeah. Yeah, it's optimized for density, which is very much the intended purpose, right? It's built for large amounts of text and code. So
That's
we
right.
got
You're
it.
not wrong.
Yeah. So we've got it. It's on the right track, but so you might have to to zoom in here. So I did ask it to follow some instructions that were pretty nebulous, which was actually really good. So I used Brokk last week, and I had a really good experience. I enjoyed it a lot because when I compare it to coding agents that I'm familiar with, like Gemini, Codex, and Claude, which we use at PubNub with our engineering teams. The main difference that I enjoyed a lot with Brokk was it took care of a lot of the things that I would normally be doing manually with the other agents, including even using Git for me automatically to save current progress, and it went end to end, and it fully built a fully working system. And usually I have to go part way with like Claude, and then I have to type in a little bit more, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, that's not what I meant. Maybe I'm gonna go back here, and then it doesn't have the context of other files. It doesn't know which ones to get. And the great thing about Brokk was it looked at everything, and I had some instructions in the README that described more of the details that I wanted, and it even found that too, which was great. I loved it.
Cool.
So you can see here on the screen the outcome of that, and it creates this really big checklist. And it took a little while. Was that intentional? Like it does take a little bit longer, but it's doing more.
It does take a little while, and I see that you've got GPT-5 Mini selected, which, as we mentioned, that's free on Brokk, so it's very cost effective. But it's also, of those default models that you clicked on when you showed the model selector,
Yeah, here we
it's
go.
the slowest one in that group.
Got it.
So yes, Brokk inherently, it's going to do research. It's going to break down the problem into tasks, and those do inherently take a little bit of time. But it's going to be significantly faster with Actually, the latest release, the default are going to be Sonnet and then Haiku for smaller problems. Those are going to be significantly faster.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Either way, it was fine because we're in this new world now where we have expectations as humans where these AIs that just do all of our work for us, and now we can just go off and watch YouTube. It's amazing, and I love it. So I have no complaints. I had a fantastic experience, and actually one thing that I'd like to do is maybe we can see here's what I want to try next. I want to do another instruction, and I want to say if it can. So let's take a look at the code file it created real quick. So here is, here was the instructions in the README, but here's the code file. So it created about 700 lines of code, which is great because it's about what we were looking for. So it didn't go overboard, but it gave you a lot of options. It did a really good job here, and it documented things really well. It went like a step further. It also is very heavy on try excepts. Like there's a lot of
that. I mean, if you found a tool that can suppress the try except diarrhea, to use a slightly coarse word, then I'd love to know what it is so I can check out what their secret sauce is, because that's pretty much a universal experience that I've seen, that all of the models are terrified of uncaught exceptions, and it really drives me crazy. Because I would just rather have the failure happen and then I can fix it instead of trying to paper over it. That just causes more problems than it solves.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? From just having the AI take care of it for me, and how you've built Brokk and the AI agent to write the code and go through everything, I feel like it's okay. I think we're in the right spot, because a lot we need to treat code differently now. We need to think of it differently. I'm thinking like it's almost, I call it disposability. And that sounds like it's a bad thing, but it's a very good thing. It's the ability to replace or rewrite when needed or necessary. And that part is a lot lower cost these days now that we have AI to do it for us, right? So
yeah, and the other thing that I'll say here is that this is a good example of what I was talking about in terms of treating the code semantically instead of as a bag of text. Because when you start combining the AI code generation with static analysis tools, then you can start solving problems like that. So we created, there's a Java library called Error Prone, and it's got a library of 300 or so common patterns where developers get things wrong. And so this is really useful to give feedback to the AI to say, hey, like I'm going to turn this unused method into a compile time error. So you have to fix it. You can't ignore it anymore. You have to fix it if you want your code to compile. And so we started pushing things like the exception diarrhea into error prone as well. So there's the other thing that it does in Java is it constantly loves to check to make sure a reference is not null. So it'll say if x equals null, then try to recover. And so we use something called null away in Brokk to make null pointer exceptions compile time problems, but the model doesn't recognize that. Even though it's in the Claude.md or the Brokk.style guide, it just ignores that because it's so ingrained, just like the exceptions, that I really hate having null pointer exceptions. So we turned that into an error-prone compile failure, where if you're checking for null, but it's provably never null, then that's an error and you need to fix it. So that's, I think that's broadly underappreciated just across the entire industry. And over the next year or two, you're going to see that become more widely adopted as a problem-solving tool to get better quality code out of the AI.
Nice. That is, I like that. I mean, so you're bringing some of the common standards of practice, at least that I enjoy a lot with Rust, where the compiler takes care of everything up front before you even push it out, and having those run.
And you said the R word, so I'll say one more thing, which is that Rust is really great at that, right? Like, yeah. Absolutely. But the other thing that the Rust compiler is known for is being one of the slowest possible compilers that people use. So I actually think, like, if I were starting a project where the library support and so forth was not a factor, I think Go is at the sweet spot right now. I think way more people should be writing code with AI using Go, because Rob Pike was a performance Nazi, and he said, my compiler has to be as fast as thought. I never want to be waiting for the compiler. And that turned out to be like super, super valuable in the AI era.
That is, yeah, because when we're dealing with, I mean, if the workflow with Rust, right, you do have a lot of waiting times for the compiler to take care of things. And comparing it with Go, because we have Go at PubNub as well from some of our services, it is so much nicer to have the compiler go, boop, done, all right, binary's ready. Like it's assembled and linked, all available.
So if you're using Rust with Brokk, what you should do is you should go into the build setting of the project and change it from cargo build to cargo check. And that's going to do that analysis that says, here's the problems, but it's not going to do code generation. So it saves you like 50% of the time. It's significantly faster.
That's a really good advice. I should be doing that. I should be using cargo check, not cargo build. That's a great, thank you, Jonathan. That's you saved a lot of money because the compiler takes forever. That's great. So we do have some more questions here, and I wanted to get to a demo as well. Maybe we can grab some of the questions. Did anything pop out to you on the chat? Otherwise, I've got some ready to go here for you.
I kept true to my word. I'm looking at you and at the screen. I'm not looking at the chat. Sorry.
All right. So we've got a question about when you choose between. So we saw here on the screen some different model options to pick. What was your sort of favorite go-to, and do you see sort of a difference when picking the difference with Brokk?
Yeah. So this is So one of the issues with Brokk is that we're changing it really fast as we get feedback, and so the current stable release has what you just showed, which is a slightly stale list of default models. But if you click on that list and then click at the bottom, there's a manage option. Then you'll be able to see the newer models and define them as a favorite. So if you click on the plus, we do have Sonnet 4.5 in there. We do have Haiku 4.5. And so, yeah, we just committed a patch yesterday to update that default list that you get in that drop down.
Nice.
So sorry about that, but they are in there.
Excellent. That's good to see. All right, so we've got some good models. And then you were mentioning that. So another one of the questions was, how much memory would you say is needed for a local model if they were to pick like a decent one on their own machine? What should they target?
I mean, I think so. The problem is you've got two things, right? You've got the model weights, which is what you get with the size. If it's like GPT OSS 20 billion, that means you've got 20 billion weights at, I think FP4 is what they quantized it to. Okay. So it's like 5 gigabytes of VRAM is what you need just for the base model. And then depending on how long the prompt you want it to handle, then you need more VRAM for that. So I believe the goal for OpenAI with GPT-20 there was to run on 8 gigabyte VRAM cards reasonably well. But the larger the context you want, the more you're going to need. And again, this is just something, when I benchmark those models, like all of those models that you see on the Brokk Power Ranking, those are all benchmarked from providers on OpenRouter, because even if I can run GPT 20 billion on my two 3090s that I have in my desktop, like it's much slower than paying for Fireworks or Together AI to do it. And I can't do 50 concurrent threads, which is what I'm doing when I'm doing that benchmark. So and by the way, we expose something similar in Brokk. So if you go to the tools menu, there's a BlitzForge option, and that's basically saying I want to do parallel processing across my code base. So instead of processing one prompt at a time, I'll feed as many files as you give me to the model along with your prompt, and basically max out the model's processing bandwidth to be able to do those in parallel. So it's not just an academic thing. That I really do think that, yeah, it's cool to have an intelligence like running in Silicon on your desktop, but it's just not that useful. Just pay, whatever it is, it's probably like $5 a month for all you can eat GPT OSS 20 billion from Fireworks AI, if that's what you really want to run. But I'm telling you, you will be happier with your results using a smarter model, using a Haiku, using a GPT-5 Mini. They're just better at coding.
Nice. All right, that makes a lot of sense. That's good advice. So instead of running it locally yourself, you might as well pick something that has decent output, decent quality, even if it comes from a cloud vendor that has actually a pretty good, $5 is pretty great. That's a pretty good price. A lot cheaper than buying a really beefy piece of hardware.
That's the thing, right? You can spend $3,000 on a 5090, and that $3,000 is going to buy you a lot of quality time with a much more powerful model. So yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me unless you're like, hey, I've already got this 5090 for gaming, and so I want to see what I can do just for fun. Sure, have fun, but if you're serious about writing code with AI, then that's not a good use of time.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so we got so many questions. All right, so Terminal Bench. Are you familiar with this benchmark? It's called Terminal Bench.
I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
And one of the questions askers was saying, did you benchmark any of the outputs or the capabilities with your agent in Brokk?
So I'm still on a quest for how do I benchmark Brokk and show how good it is. Terminal Bench is roughly the correct shape, but it really is based around terminals, and Brokk is not. Brokk is based around, we've built these semantic analysis tools into Brokk, and that's what we rely on. more than something that you can run from a terminal. You can give Brokk a terminal MCP tool, by the way. You can do that. We also have a built-in terminal tool, but it's not available by default because it's not very well sandboxed. So that's actually harder than it looks, unfortunately, on modern Linux. So we have sandboxing working on Mac OS, but not on Linux and Windows. So we've just kept the whole thing back and said, hey, if you really want terminal-based tools, throw it into MCP. But in general, you don't need those to be effective writing code with Brokk.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So the best use of Grokk's already built in. Use the IDE directly that you've built and interface through all of your code dreams there. So we got another question that I thought was really interesting. There was so let me see if we can zoom out. I don't see a pricing section here, and someone was asking Brokk pricing plans, but you did answer earlier. But
yes, I think the pricing's in the footer rather than that menu that you're looking
oh, is it? Okay, let's jump down to the footer. Here we go. Pricing. Hey, we got it. We got the pricing. All right. That was actually one of the questions was is there a free plan? And there's a free plan. Check it out.
Yes. So not only is there a free plan, but Brokk is open source. So knock yourself out, right? But yeah, the GPT-5 Mini is part of the free plan. And I know that a lot of people have biases against GPT, mostly from older models. GPT-5 Mini is really strong. It's slower, but that's why it's less expensive. So pick your poison.
Nice. That makes a lot of sense. So we got, it's also free for yearly too. Clicking the two, it's probably because I'm way zoomed in on this, right? Here we go. All right. I see. The free was overshadowing because it was in mobile view.
Right.
There we go. Nice. All right. This is great. All right. So, let me see. I'm looking through which question should we answer next? So we've got more questions. We got a lot more questions. Was there anything else that we should demonstrate or show that you think, Jonathan, would be useful to the audience?
At the risk of getting really deep into the waters, there is something that I'd like to show. So
nice.
If you go up to settings, let's go to file settings, and we need to unlock advanced mode to do this. And so we're gonna go advanced mode on your screencast.
All right, we're going super advanced mode. Here we go. All right, so we got our settings open.
Yep. So the bottom checkbox there on the first page that you're looking at right here says interface enable advanced mode.
Here we go.
So let's go ahead and just click OK on that.
All right, here we go. Apply. We clicked OK. Did it work?
So now we've got a bunch more tabs on the left that weren't there before. That's what we wanted to open. Go.
Okay.
So one of the things that you mentioned earlier is that, hey, this was kind of slow doing this task creation and research and so forth with GPT-5 Mini. So one of the ways that we help you deal with that is by letting you work on multiple things at the same time. So if you go, that one right there, the work trees.
Our work trees.
So the middle one that looks like branching. So this is our work trees. And then at the bottom, there's a plus. So let's just create a new work tree really quickly.
Okay, so there's a plus button down here. All right,
at the bottom, yeah.
All right. We can call it simplification. Here we go. Main.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot there. I've tried. I cannot type and talk at the same time, so you're ahead of me.
Get large.
What is
LFS?
You get LFS.
Yes, because we've got this. This has this is an AI project where we wrote our own AI model and we trained it live on stream to do stock price predictions. We did, and it actually works pretty well. But it's a 1.2 gigabyte model file with the weights and parameters, and so that's what it is right there.
All right. Well, this would work better in a repo without get LFS apparently. So sorry about that.
Hey, all good. We wonder if we can try it on a different one. So let's see here. So I can do open project. And then we can let's select another one. I want to see if we can make sure that we demonstrate some of this here. Open local. Oh, perfect. All right, so we got a desktop, and then we can go into, what were we building? Oh, let's do this one here. Where is it? It's called perfect. All right, open. Okay, here we go. Brokk, make Brokk better experience for everyone. Yes, definitely. All right, here we go. We got a new one. Update, get ignore. Yes, for Brokk files. Add Brokk project files. Sounds good. Commit. Thank you. All right. So, this
So now we got
project.
this new project,
Yep.
and we're going to go back to the work trees on the left. So it's third one from the top, I think. Yep.
Let's see here. Create a new one. So,
Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
what should we? So this is a newer project. So there's less.
Yeah, we'll just call it a demo branch, can we?
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, John. So much. I like that. All right. So we got a demo branch. All right. So we've done some work trees here. We got a new work tree.
All right, so now what you might have not noticed if you're on mobile is when he opened that, Brokk opened a second window, and right now they're crammed into the same space, but there's actually two windows on top of each other now.
Yep.
And you can use those completely independently. So you can give Brokk a task in one of those windows, and if it's a 20-minute task, no problem, because you just go to the other window and you work on whatever you want while it's cranking away. And then when it's done, if you go to the work tree window and go to the work trees tab in that, so at the bottom now in this window we have I think it might be covered up. There should be a merge into button on the work trees tab. And if it's not, we have a bug. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, just kidding.
I think we do have a bug there because we started off in not advanced mode. So I think that's what's going on.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah, that makes
So
sense.
I will fix that after we're done here. But if you close Brokk and reopen it, you don't have to do that right now.
Okay.
Then that button would show up, and then that's basically like merging a PR, where you can say, here's where I want to merge it. Do I want to rebase it? Do I want to merge squash, and so forth? So you've basically got one button to create this work tree sandbox, and then another button to merge it away, and then it's disposable.
Excellent. There you go. Keyword disposability. I love that because it's we need to treat code differently now these days, and I think that's a huge keyword that we all need to remember. So nice. So you can work on with different tasks, and it's merged, slightly adjusts to your new changes. Yes, you got it. You got it. Just reading some of the chat messages here. It's open source. It's open source. Yes, this is open source. And so yeah, exactly. You can, if there's something that you want to add into it, you can just clone it. You can make it, you can add in some, do you have a sort of a plugins capability or sort of a plugin ecosystem for developers to start building with Brokk?
No plugins, but Brokk is in fact very good at editing Brokk. So send us a pull request and we'll be happy to review it.
That's right. So someone just mentioned if it's open source, can Brokk fix the issues with Brokk? Yeah. As a showcase, you got it. Yeah. That's exactly what it can do. So there was another question about how the context, and I think this is an important one because the context windows usually are sometimes an issue when you're using some of the coding agents and other AIs. And what Brokk does something different is it deals with the context window in a unique way for larger code bases. Would you be able to sort of walk us through just a smidgen of that? How does Brokk? What is the special sauce with Brokk here?
I'd love to. This is actually really important. So click on, for instance, your any of those files that you don't mind people seeing.
Okay.
That you've got at the bottom of the context.
Oh, here, over here. Perfect. We'll do this
Yeah.
one. Here we go. All right. We've got the one. This is actually the one that was generated. Okay, so I opened up profit.py.
Okay, and my view of the stream actually froze, so I'm refreshing that. But while that loads,
Nice.
I assume you're looking at defs and classes and functions of some kind. Standard. Okay, I can see it now. Standard Python.
Yep.
So now close that.
Okay.
And then right click on the file that we were looking at and choose the summarize option.
Summarize profit.py. It's summarizing.
Yes.
All right, here it goes. All right.
So what that did is, if you scroll to the bottom of the context, so the context window or the context list of files that are attached at the bottom,
okay.
yeah, that's scrollable. So if you scroll down, so just mouse wheel or
scroll I see. I see bottom. Summaries. I see summaries.
Yeah. So now summaries, it threw that in with a bunch of other files. Go ahead and click on that.
Okay, I've got it open.
And so what this is showing you, I've summarized these dozen files. And rather than giving you the raw code, you can see that Brokk is parsing out the declarations. And what that gives the AI is, now I understand what that API looks like. And especially if you've got type hints in your Python code, but even without it, it gets a pretty good ability to infer what's going on. And so now I know what this class result is going to, what fields are going to be in that, what methods it has available. So now I'm going to hallucinate significantly less when I'm using those APIs. So in general, Brokk's philosophy is, I don't want to give the AI entire files unless that's the only way to get the job done. I'd rather be much more surgical about it, whether with these summaries, or if you click on the paperclip icon there by the context volume bar to the right.
Yeah, see a paperclip icon. Yep, I clicked it. Okay.
So the context types that you can attach are files and folders, yes, but also classes. So if you attach a class, it's going to extract just that class. If you attach a method, it extracts just that method. If you attach usages, it's actually going to give you not just the call site, what the method is that's calling that, but it's going to give you the source of every call site. And so that's a really powerful way to do refactoring, is say, here, show me all the places that use this method, and now here's the transformation I want you to apply. And you have that code of each caller. So when you let Brokk take the wheel, so to speak, and you say, here's the task I want you to work on, the tools that Brokk uses are actually very good at taking advantage of, I want this class, but I don't need the rest of the file. I need this method, but I don't need the rest. I want to summarize that. And so it ends up being very frugal with the context window and letting you get that much more done, because you're not spending tokens on things that are only a little bit related. You're focusing on what you need for the task.
Nice. That's impressive. So not only does it get a better view of the code base by parsing the trees, the methods to call, and summarizing it in the fashion that we showed here, that it's less expensive. So it's not even less expensive. It's better and less expensive at the same time. That's great. I love it. Excellent. Brokk, yes, exactly. Brokk, not Grok. Brokk. Thank you for the correction. All right, so let's see here. They're on the homepage. I had another question. So there was another question here. There was something here called. Let me zoom in so we can zoom in here real quick. Merge agent plus Blitchforge all in one with .15. What is this?
Yes. So one of the things that's deceptively difficult is handling merges with AI, or merge conflicts. Because so a year ago, before I even started working on Brokk, I was like, hey, why doesn't anyone give me AI powered conflict resolution? Like, this seems like a no-brainer. It turns out that it's actually really difficult to give the AI the context necessary to make good decisions while it's doing those merges. And I think we finally cracked the code, and so that's what we call merge agent. And so what happens is, and I wanted to make sure that this is something that you can use even if you're a happy user of Cursor or Claude Code or whatever, because if you set up the conflict, whether that's from command line or from Cursor or whatever, Brokk will say, hey, I've detected these conflicts, and would you like me to resolve those for you? And when you click on the resolve button, then it's going to use that parallel processing engine that I mentioned and go through all of those, even if you've got 20 files with conflicts, it's not going to blow away its context window because it's not trying to do all of them at once. It's doing them one at a time based on what it sees in the heads of the Git branches that were responsible for the conflict.
That's fantastic.
So if you're like, hey, I'm not sure about Brokk, maybe I should try it out sometime. I think this is like our killer app. Like if you spend any time at all on merge conflicts, you should try out Brokk and see how it does with automatically resolving those for you.
That is heartwarming. This when you see those often, like we've got a lot of developers on several code bases, and it happens. There's a merge conflict. It's going to happen, and it does happen, and it is a little bit, it's like, oh no, now we have to go deal with this, right? Because it's something, it's unplanned work, right? It's unexpected.
It's unplanned, and it's a lot of the time it's fairly mechanical and not very cognitively demanding, but it's a chore that you can't offload to AI very well, and that's what we wanted to solve is basically with Brokk, the idea is, I want you to be spending time on the exciting problems, on the interesting problems, and let the AI handle the tactical details. That's the zen of Brokk.
Nice. Yeah, that is very nice. That is because it goes into, I mean, the AI systems that, some of the things that we're depending on it's necessary, but at the same time, we need to think about human happiness too. And when you can do these like really these tasks that you don't want to put all of your passion and energy and creativity into, like you said, mechanical, right? These are mechanical merge conflicts just to resolve them. Have the AI do that for you, and then you can focus on the architecture and the design and what you want to achieve from the product. This is great.
Thank you.
This is amazing. Thank you. So let's see. How much time do we have left on your calendar? What are we looking at here? Do we have we've got a few more questions, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I've got another 10 minutes for sure.
Excellent. All right. Let's see here. So let's see. Oh, someone was talking about how does it work in the back end? Because you've probably got an orchestration feature in a server fleet, or is it 100% client side and then it calls out to an AI? How does that architecture work?
It's 100% a local desktop application for now. We do have the vision is that with Brokk, since we're focusing on the AI interaction and not the lines of code, like that's why Brokk is oriented around what's my conversation with the AI and less, what does my code look like right this instant? So if you go into Brokk really quickly, if you can tab back to the Brokk UI. Yeah, so all of that stuff on the right, this is your record of what you did with the AI. Yes. So this is basically like the history dialogue in Photoshop, where you can go back to any point in time and say, what did it look like at this point? And you can right click on any of those that have the diff numbers and say, show me the diff from this edit. Don't want to undo to there. Show diff. Yep, there you go.
Whoa, look at that. That is neat.
So I want to be able to use this record of how you've been interacting with the AI to make everything else better. So right now, like the state of the art with AI code review is they'll look at your diff. Maybe they'll look at the project files themselves after applying the diff, but that's all that they have to go on. Like it's just like, hey, this diff appeared out of nowhere. But with Brokk, we're syncing that history, we're syncing that to the server. So when we have a Brokk review bot, which is coming soon, it will be able to leverage that and say, oh, here's what Jonathan told the AI to do, and that's why it made these decisions. And I can have the review take that into account and say, does this make sense in the light of what I know that's captured outside of the diff itself?
Nice. I like that. This is really useful, and especially the picture that you painted with, if everyone's familiar with Photoshop or any sort of photo editing software, when you're, make even a pixel or a drop of pixel, it's just great to see this. It's so great to see this, a complete history of all the changes. This is the first time, and I didn't even notice this panel. I should have, but it's amazing. This is the first time I've experienced something like that with software engineering. This is great. This is fantastic, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Wow. So wait, so we got another question. Are the agents chained or graph based? So as you extract context and you format context, call graphs. How once it's got all the information it needs, how does it orchestrate? Is there multiple agents basically in the works here?
Yeah, so it's a mix of fully agentic, where we give the AI the goal and a bag of tools and say figure it out, and hard-coded workflows where we're prescriptive and we're going to make calls out to the AI, but then we've got some structure around that never goes away. So for example, when the AI is writing code, that's embedded in a workflow that always runs the build. Always, there's actually a flag that the planning agent can set and say, hey, I know this change is going to break the build, so let's defer that for now. But unless that flag is set, we always run the build. We always run tests. And so that, I've seen other tools where the AI just decides, you know what, I'm confident in this change and I don't need to run the test. Well, you know how well that goes when humans decide that, and the same holds for AI. So I think that I don't think that going fully agentic all the time is appropriate. We do want to have some defined structure where we found that to be useful, and that build loop is one of those places. In terms of like the rest of the question, in terms of graphs or vector databases, even though I wrote a vector database, I don't think it's super useful for writing code. And the reason is that it's okay to wait a few seconds to get better results when you're writing code. Vector databases are for the scenario where I want to get results back in a small number of milliseconds. And you can't do that with an agentic tool-oriented search. So vector search makes sense in that situation. But the best that you're going to get with vector search is probably 70-ish% relevance in a code base. So you're going to need to layer agentic tools on top of that anyway. And in fact, in the tests that I've been running, we're going to write an article when we have the full results. But in the tests that I've been running, adding a keyword search with BM25, like with Lucene, or adding a vector search with JVector, they just don't help, which is sad from an information retrieval theory standpoint, because we've got all these cool tools that we've spent a whole lot of time researching and refining. But yeah, it just doesn't move the needle as near as I can tell. I haven't found a scenario where it helps.
Nice. Yeah, it was even when with retrieval augmented generation and things like RAG systems, like even when like my experience that we have at PubNub, when we implement the vector part of it, and we even piece things out nicely, and we chunk the data, and it still just doesn't like do what we want. we want it doesn't give us the context that we're looking for under certain conditions. And when, like you're describing with Brokk.
So I spent a couple years doing this full time, right? So the short version is, if you're not getting the results that you're hoping for from vector search, there's two things that most people still aren't, you guys probably are, but most people still aren't doing these, and they both add tremendous value. The first is to use a re-ranker. So I'm not 100% sure who has the best re-ranker right now. A year ago, it was, started with a V. What was it? It was a year ago. It was these guys who got acquired by MongoDB.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if they've taken the eye off the ball or if they're still the ones to use. But another outfit that does re-rankers is Cohere. And I'd have to go look and see what the state of the art is right now. But if you add a re-ranker in that combines your vector search result with your keyword search result, then you get something that's better than either of those by itself. If you're trying to do it without a re-ranker, then what you end up with is something that's more of an average of the results, and that's not usually very useful. And then the other thing is that you need to be a little bit more comfortable with, you guys have PyTorch. We just ran into Git LFS with a big ass PyTorch file, so this is totally up your alley. Fine tune the re-ranker. So there are open source re-rankers, just like there's open source LLMs. And the great thing about, open source vector embedding models, just like open source LLMs. And the great thing about embedding models is they're 2 orders of magnitude smaller. So a 4 billion parameter embedding model is really big. And you can get amazing results from 1.5 billion. And so that's totally in the realm of, I can fine tune this on my desktop. And you only need a few thousand pairs of examples to get, to increase your relevance by 10, 15%. So it takes a little more time. The time invested is mostly building the data set, but you will get way better vector search results if you invest the time to fine tune the model.
Nice. That's really great advice. I didn't even think of that. So this is are you talking about the embedding model or the?
Yes, the embedding model.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah, that would be really beneficial, especially a special purpose, like a special purpose model. That'd be great for what you're looking for. So see, we got a couple minutes left here. We're at the end here. Maybe we'll do one last question here, and they were asking if you built this technology all the way from the ground up yourself, or did you import any libraries like LangChain, things like that?
Yeah. So the slightly unfortunate answer is all the cool libraries that I started off using, like JLlama to do inference locally, and Yearn for the static analysis. All of those we don't use anymore because they were just general purpose enough that we needed something more specialized for what we were doing, and so we threw them away and basically wrote our own. You mentioned LangChain, so we did use LangChain for J because Brokk is Java based, and again ran into basically I wanted to customize it in a way that wasn't a good fit to upstream. And so we vendored the project, meaning we copied the LangChain for J code base into Brokk, and then we started customizing it from there. Nice. So the answer is yes, but also no.
Nice. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Once you start getting down the path of going, isn't it kind of true for like most frameworks? Even like you have a specific intent, and then you grab the framework, pull it in, but then you need to extend.
Yeah, and I think this is something that you've hit on this a couple times, that in this world of AI code, don't be afraid of a few thousand lines, right? Like don't be afraid to vendor that dependency. 10 years ago, I never would have done that because it's just like this huge pile of code that I'm responsible for that I didn't want to be responsible for. But now I can throw Brokk at it and say, hey, add. Make my LangChain for J fork null away safe, and I can do that in an afternoon instead of like a month.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So this was Jonathan. Had a really good time chatting with you here and learning a lot. We got some great advice and some good ideas. Also, if everyone you want to check out Brokk, go to brokk.ai. It's brokk.ai.com. And give it a shot. You'll be amazed at what you didn't know these AI agents, what they're capable of. We're still at the beginning, and you know what? There's a lot of things that it can do right today. So Jonathan, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much for having me, Stephen.